Using the herd genetic report. To start making targeted genetic progress in your herd, the first step is to know where your herd is starting from, identifying areas of strength to maintain, and weaker areas to begin improving upon. This is where AHDB Dairy's Herd Genetic Report can be of assistance. The Herd Genetic Report is an online tool available through AHDB at no extra cost to farmers who are fully milk recording in the UK. This tool gives both the individual genetic merits for the milking herd and young stock. It is also password protected, and third-party requesters will receive their own login with your herd information added. Once logged in, select the index which is most appropriate to the system you operate, i.e. PLI or block calving. Summary table. The first table you will see is the summary table. This gives you a concise summary of the genetic potential of your young stock by age in the top section and milking herd by lactation in the bottom half. The average row at the bottom initially shows the average of the whole herd, but if you check or uncheck the tick boxes on the left, those selected will be averaged. An important thing to note here is that if you have been making the right breeding decisions for your herd, then you will see the numbers improving through the generations in the table. For example, lactation 1 animals would have better PTAs than lactation 2 animals, and so on. Benchmarking table. Scrolling further down the page, the next table you come to is the benchmarking table. This table compares your herd against all other milk recorded herds in the UK. The highlighted boxes indicate the percentile your herd sits in compared to other herds nationally. The example herd shown on screen shows that this herd's PLI is sitting in the top 5%, but SCC is in the top 30%. Ideally, you would like to see the health traits for your herd in as high a percentile as possible. Your production would vary depending on your contract. For example, a constituents contract may not want to have a high percentile for milk, but we would expect to see their fat and protein percentages to be sitting at the top of the table. Another feature of this table is the drop-down box. The default compares your milking animals with other milking animals around the UK. But this can be changed to compare young stock or specific lactations instead. Herd sire list. Moving back up to the top of the screen, you will notice that there are 4 buttons under the summary table. The first is the herd sire list. The bulls are ordered in descending order by the number of daughters milking in your herd, and their PTAs are shown in the table. The list can also be reordered by specific traits using the arrows along the top. This list can help you to identify bulls whose daughters are thriving in your herd and see what kind of genetics these have. On the other hand, it can also help you identify bulls whose daughters are not the right genetics for your herd. For example, if you are on a constituents contract, but some of the bulls you have used in the past are negative for fat and protein percentages, then you may want to address this when breeding their daughters. Young stock report. Going back to the summary table, the second button is the young stock report. Here you will find the genetic merit of all your individual young stock. Initially, all heifers are ranked by the economic index you have selected in descending order. By clicking the arrows at the top of the table, you can reorder all your animals by a chosen trait. This will initially reorder by the best animals, but by clicking the arrow again, the weakest animals for that trait are brought up to the top of the list. This report allows you to see strengths and weaknesses of individual heifers before they enter the herd to ensure they are adding to the genetic progress of your herd. As with all the main reports, print and export to Excel buttons are also included. In addition, Filter boxes appear at the top of the page to reduce the number of animals viewed to a reasonable size and create breeding lists. Once the data has been filtered, the print function will become active. The Youngstock report also includes a genomic indicator column. Animals which have been genomically tested appear with a green G icon. These genomic indexes give a higher reliability than the pedigree index used to calculate non-genomic Youngstock proofs. A final feature is the customizable columns. By ticking the boxes, these columns will appear in the list, and keeping the boxes deselected means they will stay hidden. This keeps the list from becoming too busy, as new indexes are made available to the industry. This feature also appears on the Milking Herd report. Milking Herd report. To access this report, return to the home page and select the third button. Similar to the Youngstock report, this page gives you complete details of your individual milking cows. Again, all cows are ranked by the economic index you have selected and has the same functionality as the Youngstock report. Like the Youngstock report, this report allows you to identify cows you would like to breed from and to highlight strengths to maintain and weaknesses to address when making breeding decisions. The Milking Herd report contains an additional column titled PED-IND, which stands for Pedigree Index. If a blue PI icon appears in this column, it indicates that the proof is a pedigree index. This can occur when not enough milk tests have come through to provide a reliable enough proof based on production information, and so these proofs have a lower reliability than those based on production information. Now that you are familiar with the herd genetic report and how to use this tool to identify your herd's strengths and weaknesses, you are ready to take the quiz to test your knowledge. Then move on to Tutorial 4, where we look at selecting sires and dams to progress your herd's genetics using AHDB Dairy's Inbreeding Checker.